you had I hate to use the word exclusive, but you talked to Dana Holgorsen one-on-one on Friday and had a great chat with him. And this is going to lead to many columns.
Well, I'd say 3. I wrote 1 on Sunday. I thought, Sean, I don't think we really talked about it in these terms, but I thought it was important to get someone of the big 3 coordinators before they go on break. Before they go on this, we're not going to get anybody in July. I hope people understand that. Those guys are gone.
Shut her down.
And they won't and they won't be on the radio is what I understand till probably August. So we're not going to hear a lot. So I thought, now ideally, Sean, I would have gotten Holgorsen and Eckler, if not Butler, but just so people understand, Eckler, how would you characterize it, Sean? Mike Eckler, the new special teams coordinator. I don't think Rule Matt wants these guys talking too much right now, right?
No, you kind of shut it down. And look, around the country.
Am I wrong?
Well, around the country, there aren't assistant coaches talking anywhere.
Right. Now, Holgorsen's a little different because he's been a head coach. He was a head coach for 13 years. You can turn him a little more loose, right? And I really wanted badly to get him before the break. And now here's what he did. Thank God. Now, it was Friday morning after my morning radio show. And I was talking to you actually when he texted. We were set to talk at 9:30. No, 9:15. And he said, hey, he texted, said, you better call right now because I got a meeting at 9:25. And it was about 9:05. And that text was critical because it would have been about an 8 to 9 minute interview. And instead it was a 18 to 20 minute interview. And as you know, Sean, it makes all the difference in the world. So we covered 3 kind of separate subjects. June, his future, what that might look like and how much he's enjoying himself. That's the second thing. And the third thing was he got into a pretty good discussion about the quarterbacks and offensive line. So I wrote on Sunday sort of where he's at in his career, how happy he is here. And I want to make clear he's really enjoying himself as the offensive coordinator. And he feels like his head coaching experience really helped him last year handle coming in here in November and having to take over the offense. He said being a head coach helped just because of the way it happened here. He came in late, had to get things organized quickly. And he said at the end of the day, everybody felt good enough about it to where we just rolled into next year. He did say, and I didn't write this, I will write it later. He said we didn't change the offense that much. Now, what's that mean to you, Sean? What's that mean to you? He said we didn't change it that much.
Oh yeah, they're not running like the run and shoot or the air raid,
right.
Or they're not having Dylan run zone reads like at a high. I think the core concepts are the same. It's just you got a different chef in the kitchen.
And what else? The chef pared down the menu. It's like one of those restaurants you go to and you get a menu and you're just like, my God, it's 4 pages.
It's like Cheesecake Factory. Have you ever been to a Cheesecake Factory? Their menu's like literally 20 pages.
See, yeah, and I think Dana would go to the Cheesecake Factory and go, this isn't the kind of restaurant I want to be.
That was their plate. Like you can get a steak, a taco, an Asian dish, or a pasta at a Cheesecake Factory.
No offense to Satterfield, but that's kind of what his offense was. Sorry.
It's up until Cheesecake Factory. That's all not being freshly made by sous chefs in the back. It's probably just frozen stuff there because there's just, it was too complicated.
Exactly. So there's that. The other part of the discussion, it's really interesting to talk to a 14-year head coach, 53-year-old guy who's seen the business. He made it pretty clear that in this day and age, it'd be really hard for him to be a head coach and also the play caller. In fact, he said you wouldn't do it because of the complexity. Here's what he said. He said there's just so much. He said it's just so CEO nowadays, talking about the head coaching position. He's smart. He said, I mean, the staff, you've seen this too, Sean. I mean, the staffs have gotten so big. The rosters are still big. He said, everybody's talking about going to 105 players right now, but I think we're still at 120 as we're trying to figure the rules out. He also said, look at all the people that report to Rule. It's he called it an army of people. You notice it at the camps. I don't know how Rule keeps all the names straight. It's an army.
Well, and Dr. Susan Elza has to kind of manage it as the chief of staff.
Yeah.
And her job is big.
Her job is big. They report to Rule, though. You know, I mean,
but sometimes they report to Elza, who then reports to Rule.
That's true. That helps.
You can't have 200 people to report directly to Rule.
Right. That's good. But anyway, he says that all stretches you really thin. And if this is what Dana said, and if you think you're going to have hours upon hours to be able to watch video and script things out, well, you're just not going to be able to do that. Now, and if you look at the Big Ten, and I didn't go through the whole Big Ten, but if you just look at the top of the Big Ten with Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State, none of those guys call plays anymore. Ryan Day did hire Chip Kelly.
Well, and Frost attempted to. I mean, Frost did.
No, he did. He did.
It didn't work out well.
No. He had Jared Lambert. That helped.
With managing the day-to-day, but I'm talking about running the offense and the players and the team.
Then Frost was kind of on the – he didn't – like, imagine Frost trying to call plays now with everything that's going on with the new rev share.
I still believe he's going to call plays but he's got somebody next to him.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think that's the way to
Steve
go.
Cooper at UCF, but I'll be interested to know if he's in that same role.
I like the way. Go ahead.
As heavily as involved as he was before.
I like the way Rule does it. I like the way Fleck does it.
Rule's still involved though.
He's still involved, but he doesn't call plays. He'll jump in there. Most head coaches jump in and decide: are we going for it on fourth down? Or are we kicking a field goal here? Whatever. A lot of head coaches do that, but I bet you, now this is what I was going to ask you. My guess is Dana Holgorsen has about as much autonomy as any play caller in the country.
And I think before
now Rule might say, Sipple, you're full of it. I would think he would give Dana that sort of autonomy.
I think pre-Dana, though, Rule did get involved more. You kind of felt it at the UCLA game this year. You kind of felt it in the Indiana game.
I wonder what he'd say to that.
Well, he had the sheet.
Yeah, he did.
Right. And he was looking at it.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what I'm going on. Like, that his voice was more involved maybe than it was before.
Well, I think it had to be. The question is, or what my guess is he won't have to be as involved. He has a high-level guy. I mean, Dana Holgorsen and Chip Kelly are pretty similar in my mind. Am I giving Dana too much credit there?
No, I mean, other than Chip Kelly has been an NFL head coach, and he's been a head coach of a bigger program at Oregon, and he's also been, Chip Kelly's got a little bit more pedigree,
a little bit more. But I look at the hires very similarly. Rule hiring Holgorsen, Ryan Day hiring Kelly. Now that might be being a little generous to Rule and Dana, but I don't know. It's, to me, they could have the same sort of impact. Not that Nebraska's going to win a national title. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think you're going to see the offense get much better under Dana. That's what I'm saying. Okay. But the other thing about Holgorsen I want to drive home is he's really enjoying it. He said, what the future holds, I don't know, and I don't care. He said, I just care where my feet are right now, and that's the way it's going to stay. So I don't know what's going to become of Holgorsen. I hope he's here for a while. If they're successful this year and Dylan stays around, don't you think that you could get Holgorsen next year too?
I would think so, yeah.
If they're good and Dylan's firmly in place, yeah, I would think that he'd have a good shot of staying.
We always talk about him coming in, and that UCLA game was kind of, I'm looking back at that UCLA game, the game before Dana.
Yep.
November. And they had the ball first and goal at the 4, and they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plays from the 4. They got a penalty in there.
That's when Dylan got hit too, right?
Yeah, and I mean, just that game, like that was kind of the end of it, where they had to make the switch to Dana Holgorsen. They went 13 plays for 53 yards only. That's not a very good play per average. No. And it took 6:01. And
it took too much time.
And then that killed the clock. I mean, like that was kind of, to me, again, people have tried to downplay this to me, but I truly believe the UCLA game, with boy, the defense and offense collectively played against a bad Big Ten team. UCLA was a bad team in terms of their record. I don't care. They beat Iowa. I know that they had talent, but that's where rules or whoever advises Rule, because he's got people obviously advise him too that are close to him. Like a change had to be made at that point. And Dana, and that's.
Do you think changes or change?
Well, we saw.
I mean, you had to make a move on defensive coordinator, I thought too.
Again, that
now that's different. It's different because people are going to say, Sipple, they were a top 25 defense, but there were red flags on defense too, Sean.
It wasn't a picnic. I mean, UCLA again went 14 plays, 68 yards, 8 minutes opening drive. Second drive, 11 plays, 85 yards, 637.
It wasn't the picture was odd to me because the overall numbers aren't bad with Tony White, but there are those games where, like Indiana, like UCLA, even like USC. Now, USC was another example. They couldn't get off the field when they needed to. Am I wrong?
No.
Hell no, I'm not wrong. They couldn't get off the field when they needed to.
They were at a pace. We've talked about it before. They were at a pace in that Indiana game at halftime.
Indiana, yeah.
To give up more yards than any Nebraska defense in history.
And I'm going to tell you something now. That causes tension in the office. I mean, that's tension time.
And it was like 35-7 at half, right?
Yeah, something like that.
But
we were sitting up there talking about.
It felt way worse than that.
Yeah, we were talking about that they could give up the most yards in program history on this afternoon.
On Big Noon kickoff.
Yeah. And UCLA was embarrassing. UCLA was when I saw you as angry as I've ever seen. The first half.
Well, again, the opening of the game, UCLA had the ball for 25 plays, 14 minutes. 14 minutes and 37 seconds. 21 plays, 14:37. Nebraska had the ball for 3 plays, 2 yards, 131. That's the worst start of a game I've ever seen.
And we went into that day thinking here's where they're going to clinch a bowl, right?
Like, if you're a Rule, it's like, we're at home. We got UCLA and Lincoln on November.
And what else? We can clinch a bowl,
get the monkey off our back. And then they did what they did. Because if they didn't beat Wisconsin, who the hell knows where this is at right now? All right.
And we are having a pleasant conversation about Dana Holgorsen.
But yeah, Dana Holgorsen, I go back to that game. That was, to me, the game where Rule and whoever helps advise him said, look, you got to do something different. I mean, this is not working.
Holgorsen is a monumental hire. And I still think it's kind of surreal that he's here. When he was here, when he came for that wrestling match, he ultimately didn't take the job at that point. But when you were telling me Sipple Holgorsen's in town, I was like, he's not going to come here. But there he was last November. There he was. And now he's calling plays for Nebraska. It's gigantic. I think he and Eckler in December will be gigantic stories here.
Back to that UCLA game. Their first
so fixated on
their UCLA. First 5 possessions in that game. 3 plays, 2 yards. 3 plays, 0 yards. 3 plays, 5 yards. 2 plays, 4 yards. They did have the 1 scoring drive, 9 plays, 75. But can't do that at home.
Not in that situation either. I think the situation, you might be underselling the situation a little bit. We went into that game thinking this is it. This is where they get the monkey off the back. And then that's what we saw. And I just think it must have been really a tense time down there on the sideline in the offices. Maybe not.
Then they opened the third quarter, 1 play with an interception, pick 6.
I know. I remember the game vividly.
Yeah, then it got to be 27-7.
Then they go out to USC, right?
Well, the first game with Dana was on the road at USC, right?
Yeah.
And then it was Wisconsin, then it was Iowa.
So the USC game was kind of similar to me. The offense showed some signs, but the defense, like it was just sort of annoying. Like, how do they get 3rd and 8? How do they get 3rd and 7? Why is that guy running wide open? You know, why is there no pressure? You know, why is there no pressure? Just didn't. I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't working. And give
that was Tony White. I mean,
give Rule credit to recognize that and make tough decisions.
We've never really hashed it out like we are now, which I like June. I don't know what Rule would say. I mean, I don't know what happened with Tony White. Like, I know what Rule said. He left to go to Florida State to get closer to family.
He left for less money.
Yeah. And I didn't even know he had family in Florida. I mean,
well,
I don't like.
I'm a simple man from South Omaha, but I'm smart enough to recognize you don't usually leave in what appears to be a promotion and take less money.
It wasn't going perfectly. I think we can just kind of keep it at that.
Oh, and Florida State also had to pay out a big buyout to Nebraska, so they needed him badly, Mike Norvell, but nobody wanted the job for Mike Norvell,
right?
Because he's in a tough situation.
Oh, he's in a tough situation.
I mean,
so that's another thing, though. What Tony White goes into a tough situation, kind of an unstable situation. Not kind of. They lost how many games last year? 10.
Like, if they don't have a quality year, Norvell might be out.
Gone. Oh yeah. So it's kind of weird. I don't know, Sean. Just the picture wasn't perfect on that side either.
It got so far out in front to start the year, though, and then the drop happened so quickly you didn't realize it.
Right.
Between Indiana and UCLA, those two games, the Ohio State game was excellent, though. You cannot look past how they played there.
It was ungodly good. Yeah.
And that was the problem. They couldn't play like that level consistently.
Inconsistency is the hallmark of mediocrity. Always remember that.
How the hell did we get? Or this is like the ultimate. This is like one of our phone conversations where we just get up.
People would be startled by our phone conversations.
We just totally drove around the parking lot here, just all over the place. But
they'd be startled at how all over the map they are.
Anyway, read Sipple's column with Dana Holgorsen.
Yeah, Dana Holgorsen.